So welcome. We're at episode 3 of Downtime at DT. So another special guest, the complete opposite of our previous guest, Rich Davey, who came in super cranky. Our guest, super smiley, super happy. I'm loving it already. So would you like to introduce yourself?
I'm Niamh Slater. I'm an account director that's currently working on the Macquarie account at DT Sydney.
Niamh, so what does an account director do? That is the kind of ongoing question.
I was going to say that's the eternal question at most agencies I've been at.
Rather than just say yes to whatever the client says, is there some other duties that you have?
Long lunches. No. Our role, I think, is to represent, I think the best articulation is probably to represent the agency at the clients and to represent the client in here. So we're the conduit between the two. So our role is to understand the client, where they're going, what we're trying to achieve, and make sure that the projects we do make sense for that vision or direction. As a synopsis. Yeah.
Yeah. So how do you deal with them not liking my ideas?
It's a tough one. It's a tough one because it's not your idea specifically, but most clients are sometimes scared to step outside the box they have.
Yeah.
So I guess it's more taking them on a bit of a journey, and sometimes you've got to phase it out. You've got to go, well, we could start with this small little iteration, and then maybe they get excited about that, and then you take them on the next, and maybe 4 years later we'll do what we thought was good.
So you baby step them.
You babysit them. Yeah.
Right.
Maybe we could be called babysitters. Maybe that's a better idea.
No, I don't think we can actually have that on record, that's what your job title is, because
people wouldn't like that.
People would not like that.
No.
But I understand. So let me play back to you as account director.
Mm-hmm.
You're the in between. Mm-hmm. So you represent our interests when we go to the client's office, but you also have the client's back when we're here telling them that they should 3D print a drone to QR code some stuff.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's a really good summary.
All right. Now, in this role as an account director, I feel you're probably going to need some kind of spiritual guidance. So when you're psyching yourself to go up into this Macquarie office and make this presentation, what is the spirit animal that you summon to give you strength to get through that meeting?
That's a really good question.
There are really a lot of good questions here at Downtime at DT.
Already, I can't wait. The spirit animal. I think the spirit animal I summon is probably something calm, like a whale.
A whale.
Just a calm presence to bring into the client so that you're not shaken by anything they throw at you. I'm going to go with that one because I don't think of anything better.
And they consume large amounts of krill, which is a microscopic crustacean. So there is that thing as well, that you have that option.
If I need protein, I could do that. I need more protein in my life, so maybe I'll look into krill as an option.
Look, and so often when for me, I think account management, account direction, it's one of the toughest gigs in agency land because you're sort of caught between a rock and a hard place pretty much all the time, man. I've done a bit of it, and I was like, it can't be that hard. And then I kind of go, okay, I'll just do whatever you tell me. So how did you come into this position as an account director? Where did you sort of start off, maybe study-wise, but, what was sort of the passion that sort of drove you into the account directing?
So I studied marketing at uni. I did a bachelor's in marketing back in Ireland. And from that, I actually went client-side. So I was one of those people.
Yeah.
And I just love marketing and how it, you can get inside the psyche of people and manipulate, that's a terrible word, but how to understand them to see what they might want or need and how a brand can offer that. But in most client roles, certainly at the time, which is like 8 years ago now, you were a generalist, so you were a marketing manager across, all different mediums, but I was always drawn to digital and where that was going. So at a point I had to make a decision to step into agencies because that's where you get to, just do digital.
Okay, that's really interesting,
So I made that decision 4.5, maybe 5 years ago, 4.5 years ago. I went in, and an account management is probably the easiest transition. It's probably the easiest transition because they're, very similar to the client's role. It's very strategic, and you kind of got to wear many hats. And I don't have any mad design skills or anything. So,
but what was it about sort of digital and technology that you went, yep, this is it. I'm gonna reshape the direction of my career because digital technology, that's where it's at.com.
I want to be with all the cool kids.
Yeah, right. So how's that working out for the CT?
Yeah, it makes me feel, especially cool kids, but it makes me nervous because my dorkiness shines through a little bit more when you're around cool kids.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. What fascinates me about technology, I just love how it challenges human beings, and it's evolving us as a race, and literally it changes how people are behaving, which I think is fascinating.
Yep, incredibly.
I'm really interested in human behaviour and how we all interact with each other, and technology can enable that and it can detract from that, and all of that is just really fascinating.
Yeah, fantastic.
And it's changing. Everything else kind of stays the same around it. TV ads are kind of the same.
You can Shazam them now.
That's cool. I love interacting with my TV ads.
Yeah.
It's one of my favourite things to do.
Second screening.
I want to find out the behind the scenes.
Yeah.
What happened.
Yeah. All right, just keeping things positive. So, you kind of see, you made some great comments there about sort of technology and digital sort of shaping culture and shaping the way that we interact with each other. So what excites you about maybe the next 10 years or of technology and where you kind of see where we're going to be?
That's a really interesting question. I think I'm hopeful that we get to a place with technology where it doesn't interrupt our lives, that it just becomes part of it. So I think because we're still exploring technology and all it can offer, and social media is probably the best example of that, where sometimes it gets in the way of life and what we should be doing. And I think it's awesome and really powerful in one sense, but on the other side of it, how do we find that balance, and how does it just continue to enable and enhance lives rather than make us be these isolated people in a corner where all we do is interact with technology and forget about the world outside and people around us.
So what are a few examples of technologies that you're sort of keeping an eye on and excited about the future of those particular areas of technology?
I think for me, probably more what we're learning to do with the technologies than the technologies themselves. I don't think there has been like a lot of the technologies like wearables, and they don't excite me yet because I can't quite see how it's going to fit into life, and it won't just become a fad and fade away.
Yeah, right.
But when I think about things like data and what we can learn from people's behaviour online and what we could extrapolate from that side of it excites me probably a bit more than the technology itself.
Because I went to a talk about Jonathan Harris, who's an artist who specialises in doing a lot of stuff with data. And one of the things that he said is that data is the future storyteller. So our stories and our who we are is kind of represented in the data that's spewing out of us on a constant basis. So I think it's very interesting to sort of look at.
Interesting.
As because it doesn't lie in a way.
And that's it, right? You can talk to someone and ask them how they're doing or what they've been up to, and they can tell you whatever they think they should say. But when you can actually get into the data and look at what they've actually done, then that's going to give us some awesome insights and hopefully solve some problems in the world rather than sell people more things. Maybe.
You sound like someone who might live in Newtown.
Technically, I live in Erskineville.
Right. Oh, that's even
worse.
That's where all of the super hippies moved, when they couldn't afford to live in Newtown, moved to.
They just stepped half a kilometre to the left.
Yeah. So, look, we kind of talked a bit about the future and where we'd like to see the future go, but there's also an interesting idea of, going back to the past and, where the skills that you've learnt and kind of all of the experience you have as an account director, how that may best serve you in 7th century medieval England.
That's a good question. Medieval England. I'm trying to
perhaps medieval Ireland.
Yeah. What was that like?
I imagine it would have been
quite barbaric, I would imagine. My skills. Well, I think one of the best skills that you have to have, or at least pretend to have and be a good pretender, is people skills. And I think that could take you in any era.
So maybe like some kind of politician or
What
lord, clan lord.
Yeah. Maybe I could be what would they have had? Shaman back in the day, where the people came with problems and you said, here, eat this leaf and then spin around 4 times and run 1,000,000 miles that way and you'll be better.
So charlatans, is that is that the word you're looking for? No.
Sure, let's go with that, because I can't think of the word.
So you would use your
hippie doctors.
Hippie doctor. You'd use your superior intellect to get them to eat more quinoa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because calming tones, so when people come and have a conversation, I'll tell them something and they'll go, yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
Yeah.
And they'll go do it. So
all right.
let's go with that.
Okay, great. Fantastic. Look, I can kind of see that your passions are sort of helping people. I guess there's kind of an element of that kind of in what you're doing. So, outside of the office, other than being, a borderline hippie, what are your other passions outside of the office?
My 2 biggest passions are lame because they're generic, but they're still mine. And one is music.
Yes. As in listening or playing or...
Alas, I have no talent.
Interpreting with dance.
Interpretive dance is definitely top of the mark. After that, it's probably going to see live music and just generally hanging out with creative people.
Yeah, right.
Because without a talent of your own in the sense of a creative outlet, I find just absorbing myself. That's why I love agencies, because you get to hang out with really awesome, creative people.
I would encourage you. I didn't believe that I was creative for probably 31 and a half years of my life. Okay,
very exact.
Yeah, I just told myself, I'm not creative.
Yeah.
And now that's my job because I just decided I'm going to do it.
Yeah, right. That's awesome.
So I would encourage you that it lives inside you, young Jedi.
You just need to find it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But I think you can be creative in all different ways, right?
And I think that's the joy of DT is that, everyone is creative with the lens that they have. We've got a lot of technically creative people. We've got a lot of design creative people. They all come up with creative solutions to problems.
Yeah.
And so gigs.
Yeah.
Best gig for 2014, do you think? Good. Can you name one?
2014, best gig I was at was... Oh, that's a tough one.
Or just name a few.
Name a few. Went to see Bombay Bicycle Club.
Oh,
they were pretty cool. That was a recent one. One of my best was Royal Blood. They sound a bit more dramatic than they are. They're kind of Foo Fighters-esque.
Yeah, right.
So there's a guy on a guitar and a guy on a drums, just a 2-piece, and they're awesome. They were really, really good. And who else was memorable? Went to see, what's his name? Jake Bug. He's like a little 12-year-old on the guitar, pretty talented dude. He's not really 12, but he looks 12.
He looks 12.
I think he's 20 or something, I don't know. He was really good, really good. And I went to a gig last night. I went to see Jamie T. It was outstanding.
No, hang on. I'm thinking Jamie XX. All these kids in there.
All the kids and their acronyms.
No, I do know Jamie T. He's from the UK, right?
Yeah. He was outstanding.
Oh, nice.
It was very good.
Look, quick fire round.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Where were you born?
Dublin, Ireland.
How'd that go?
I'm pretty sure it was pretty memorable.
Yeah.
For those around me.
Why'd you leave?
Kind of accidentally. A friend of mine and I decided we were going to take a year and travel around the world.
Yeah, right.
And
You just never
Australia
went
was one
back.
of the last stops.
Yeah.
And I never left.
Yeah.
And my friend said, I knew you were going to do this, but
Yeah.
I just didn't know where.
Yeah.
So yeah, I haven't been back since.
So why Australia? Well, obviously, but I'd like you to say it on record.
So that it's on record. I just landed here and I thought it was one of the coolest places ever.
Yeah.
Like, it's got a really chilled vibe, but people are still ambitious, and you can basically have a different night every night of the week. So you can hang out in Newtown and pretend to be a hippie or a rocker or whatever. You can go to Surrey Hills and rub shoulders with hipsters, and you can go to Bondi and hang out with hipsters, or you can do anything you want.
With more of a tan.
A bit more of a tan, probably a bit more muscle, maybe.
Yeah.
But I just think it's such a beautiful place. It's, I don't know, good vibes.
Good vibes. Good vibes.
Good times.
Clients you are currently working on?
At the moment, I'm working on the Quarry predominantly, working with Are You OK as well, which is really exciting.
Yeah.
And I think about to pick up CCA as well, which should be exciting.
Yeah.
I haven't quite started, but I think it's a week or so away, I believe.
2 things you like?
Music and travel.
What would you do if account management and agencies didn't exist for your work?
I would probably maybe teach.
Yeah.
If I had to do a non-marketing related job, maybe teach.
Teach, just general teach.
Just wander the world and muse and teach
Like,
people.
Why?
Why? No, I had probably young children.
Yeah.
I don't think I could deal with teenagers.
No, they're dickheads.
Yep.
Now, being from another country, what aspect of Australia do you believe will ultimately kill you?
The sun.
The sun.
Yeah, I think that's what's going to get me.
Irish, the sun. Yeah.
I think it's what's going to get me. And I think my body tricks me because I can get a tan, like I tan, but I reckon that's what'll kill me because just by nature we're not used to it. So
yeah, it's pretty brutal.
Yeah, and it's kind of the worst one because if a shark killed you, it's pretty instant, but the sun's going to be a bit of a drawn-out process. Look forward to that one.
Well, fantastic. So, look, this has been another episode of Downtime at DT.
Love it.
Thank you, Niamh.
Thank you, Mike.
Is there any last words that you would like to leave our DT listeners, which apparently you're not one of, despite being a guest on the podcast?
Despite my several attempts, but we'll blame SoundCloud. I think it's good. Departing comments. I don't know. Be good. Stay safe. Stay creative.
Yeah. Is there some kind of Irish wisdom that you could pass on to us? Like, may the wind always be at your back or something like that? Or
I literally think that is the one.
Is that the Irish thing? Yeah.
That's the Irish thing.
But can you say it in like a hardcore accent?
May the wind always be at your back. No?
It wasn't leprechaun enough. All right.
Let me try again. Too hard.
Too hard. All right. Thank you, Niamh.
Thanks,
It's been lovely. I've enjoyed my time.
It's been awesome. Bye.